everybody and welcome to Baking with Gary live from Oak Hill Works. No, of course it's not, and my microphone is not playing ball properly this evening, but let's move them out the way. The joke is over. I've also forgotten to turn the lights on, but I'm getting lots of feedback on my microphone here. Can someone confirm, please? My microphone tells me it's got lots and lots of feedback. That they are delicious, James. I had to go and get them after the conversation we were having. You are hearing hissing. Okay, let me play with the connections. I'm going to turn the microphone off and on again. Now it's giving me some really weird noises. This isn't good. Genuinely tested this about an hour ago and it was fine. I'm going to mute it for a second whilst I pull some cables about. That doesn't look any better. That's a problem. Oh dear. Time to pull some more cables about, I guess. No, that's still water falling, isn't it? I believe it's the connection inside my laptop. And I can't seem to get rid of it. Hang on. Can you hear me now? Just about. Okay. Yeah. How about now? Is that any better? I had to play with things before when I was first setting up the laptop for this. So I'm basically playing with the same things. That is much better. Excellent, that will do. We'll go with that. Welcome to Super Professional Streamer Land with me, Gary. I am your host. We are live at Oak Hill Works. How is everybody doing this evening? Stupid Streamlabs appears to be stupid. I'm glad to see we're having some progress on the hissing front though. You are well, that is good. You know what? Hydration is important, everyone. Remember, hydration is important. I've been enjoying more pictures of kittens this week, courtesy of my cousin. Oh, very nice, James. Hungry now that the brownies are in the mix. Ha 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 ha. That was James's fault. He suggested a baking show. I had to go and get the brownies. They were baked yesterday, I think. Absolutely wonderful things. Of all those waterfalls, I imagine you are well hydrated. You would be surprised, James. You would be surprised. So, little update from last week for those that haven't seen RM Web. My Peckett got some lining. And let's be honest, it's fantastic. So we are mainly painted in Humbrol 104 Oxford Blue. We've got a Phoenix Precision Brighton Umber edging to the panels. Fox white black white lining, which is LNER, I think. And I am so very happy with how this turned out. Obviously it needs crew next. It will get an Andrew Staddon Victorian white metal crew, which I have in a box here somewhere. There they are, the Victorians. They might need a little bit of surgery. And for those that don't check my other threads, my narrow gauge stuff got some lining. So here we see a Bachmann Scar Lowy, backdated and with a smoke box door, blue with white black white lining. And I am again really happy with how these turned out. Oh no, the loco lifts off. And it lifts off its chassis apparently. This shows how well I've been putting things back together. So I managed to get the loco of Duke lined. And that was an Ertl die-cast Thomas the Tank Engine Duke. But I only got this side of the tender lined before we ran out of corner transfers. So this side and the back of the tender will be done at some point. And then they'll get some crests for the Onin Railway and some nameplates and number plates. Victorian surgery was very dangerous, James. You're quite right. Approved Nando's livery theme for your freelance narrow. Indeed. That has always been the planned livery. It's looking so good now that I finally got lining on it. Hello, Great Northern 6. Welcome. How are you this evening? Lovely. They look gorgeous. Thank you both. I approve of lined tenders, as do I, James. The lining makes such a difference on them. They look great. Thank you, Great Northern 6. Going to design your own coat of arms. I have passed some bits off to be designed for me by Corbs at Railway Mania. Kindly offered to do it if I could provide a design brief for what I wanted. So it is going to get a coat of arms at some point. I'm in no rush for it, and I've not said to Corbs, get it done now. You know, it's just a case of when he's bored. Gotta love a good old Duke of Farquhar Road. Indeed, Thomas. At this rate, I'll be getting Gary to do my lining. No, you're much better than me, Linny, trust me. You are good, Great Northern. That is good to hear. I too am good now that we've got over my initial sound issues. Thank you, Heritage Railway Productions. A guide to how I did it can be found on my RM web thread for the Nutley, Crowborough and Greenbridge Light Railway. And if I know my mods, one of them very specifically, there will be a link to that thread appearing very soon in the chat, because my mods are awesome. Interesting to look forward to Corbs' design. Yes, as shall I. So, this week we've put the D1 aside again because we're waiting for the correct size wheels to arrive from Scale Link. I have ordered them. It's just by the time I ordered them, there wasn't time for them to get here before today. But I do think that next week, when it appears, shall be the final appearance of Linny's D1 on the channel. Oh no, see, I don't have an RM web link set up in the commands, James, but I know my mods are good. I have, however, also been buying tools. We've actually got a new saw blade. I know, an actual new saw blade, not even out its packet yet. And I've ordered 100 of these knife blades. And look at that, there is a link to RM web courtesy of Linny. My mods are indeed extremely awesome. There, I've got 100 of those knife blades coming, so we'll have plenty of sharp knife blades. I've ordered some new files. You know, all the tools are getting a bit of a refresh. Just got to wait for them all to arrive. Well, there goes, Fred. Prove a good D1. Aha, saw blade, indeed, James. There's a lot of blades. Are you planning to serious Victorian surgery? No, I just plan on them lasting. Saw with more teeth than a grumpsy budgie. Madness. Sharp blades are the best sort of knife blades. They are indeed, James. You see, when I was ordering the knife blades, I had a look through my history, and I ordered a little box of 5 last time. I knew it was a box of 5, but there's the box. It's still sat on the workbench. My empties go in it and then get disposed of properly, and then the work that's sat there for the next lot of new blades. I ordered those 5 blades in June last year, so I think it's about time I got some new ones. So, what are we up to tonight? We got some smaller kits. I have a nice 5 and 9 models wagon, which I've been telling everyone they're wonderfully easy to build. I've never actually built one, so that'll be fun. Got a wooden wagon works brake van, which looks exceedingly fun, and some Comet W irons to go with it. And a selection of kits made by Linny. But there has been definite interest in seeing the 5 and 9 wagon built when I proposed this to people on my Discord server. If you want to help decide what comes in the future, make sure you do join my Discord. A link can be found by hitting !Discord in the chat. Oh yes. Super pro. Didn't trip up on any words or anything. 5 and 9, excellent. Exactly, Alex. 5 and 9 models, these are very pre-grouping. They are very pre-grouping. Proof of kits made by Linny. 5 and 9, excellent. Ain't you had enough of my models for now? No, Linny, no, I have not. And there is a link to Discord. And there is my phone going off because I forgot to switch it to silent. Because I am that much of a professional. Let's turn that on to silent now. Very much like to see building 5 and 9 wagon. Got one of my own to build. Well, that was where I was going for the first one anyway. Oh, that's just his application of transfers. And the transfers for Bradford's Coal Merchant of Eastbourne. There's a few sets in there. He told, when I bought it, he said, yeah, I've got those, but I printed them years ago, so they might not be very good. So I'll chuck in a couple of spare sets just in case. Where have the ends gone? No, seriously, where have the ends gone? They're not in there. We won't be building this if the ends have gone missing. They'll be sat loose in my kit drawer somewhere, and I'm not going through the kit drawer right now to find them because I'm streaming. I have some sides. They're very nicely cast. White metal interesting. I imagine that these were plastic, although missing ends are not ideal. For instance, I might not be needing plastic. Not sure I think they're usually wrapped in separate paper. I think you might be right, Linny. They are wrapped separately, but they're not here. And now is not the time to be going through the kit drawer to find them. Of course, the bag was open, so if they were wrapped slightly, wrapped separately, they could easily have fallen out. They were there last time I opened it. Been a while, admittedly. So we were going to build this. Nothing wrong with it's made from recycled dinosaurs, Mr. Mole. But I mean, you've got a good point. Breakdown looked interesting. It did indeed, and that kit is now produced by 5 and 9, so it's almost building a 5 and 9 model. This one's also open. That's promising, isn't it? This is where I pour it out and the wagon it. Look. Because this is one of the original made by Eric Gates wooden wagon works kits, all the things have fallen apart in it. That's some very bendy white metal. That's not a brake van side. That's a seesaw. The other thing, 5 and 9 wagons, you need some floor plasticard too. You do indeed need some plasticard for the floor. Same applies for the wooden wagon works kits. not only the wooden wagon works kits, you also need separate W irons because they don't get included either. $19.92 this kit was made, and there's the instructions. Maybe it's a banana van. Maybe, James, who knows. It will go very nicely with my Craven tank engine, made by Javier. Once I come back to that and finish it. Got to get the commission kits out the way first. Goodness me, I'm built for 28 years indeed. Tax don't have to be taxing. Unfortunately, tax from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs do have to be taxing. It's kind of in the definition. So these fit together like this. There are actually very slight slots on them to fit them together. They locate quite nicely in there actually. As I say, this kit is now made by Chris Cox over at 5 and 9. There's a bit of cleaning up to do on here. But not too much. So, the old nasty soon to be replaced files. Wagon sent to deep slumber, was it? It was. I mean, not by me. I've only owned this for about a year, if that. TS route is consuming my soul. That sounds awesome, Alex. Very windy here. It's very windy here too, James. Now, Eric Gates has actually been in touch recently, since we're making a kit made by him, asking if I could put together a short video showing what I do on the channel to interest members of the Brighton Circle for the next Brighton Circle Modeller's Digest. Do we think I should include this van? See if Eric notices I'm building one of his kits. I've got to have it submitted to him by the end of the month. Right, gosh, that would be sensible. That's what I thought. I really must get that edited, you know. But before I do that, I need to edit Tuesday's video, which is all filmed. Definitely. Yeah, Tuesday's video is all filmed and saved on my laptop. It just needs editing. Any budding editors out there want to work for free? I don't mind not paying you to do the bit that I don't like. Lost the stream, so yeah, oh, that hand is back again. Yeah, that was just a bit of lag. Haven't lost anything, not even your marbles, good lady. Streamlabs almost seized. I think it was my internet this time actually. The bad weather does that. My internet's supposedly been fixed, but it hasn't. Maybe the wind blew some of the packets away. Maybe, James. It's always possible. But yes, Chris Cox of 5 and 9 is a very talented man, and has in fact been working on some new kits very recently, and has posted about them on RM Web this week. I mean, the Masters weren't done by him, but that's not the point. The Masters were done by another very talented man. But there's some real early stuff in there. Now I see why you get through so many knife blades. Yeah, white metal is why I get through so many knife blades. There is some big bits of flash that just aren't worth the file. There's something under there, you know. You know, there's no point filing down a bit like that off the top. How early? 1840s. Got a London and Birmingham Railway horse box was one of them. Kit doesn't so much need a soldering iron as a smoothing iron. That's what Gracing. No, he is working on a new loco kit. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say what it is. But it is a loco kit of that period. But yeah, I'm genuinely not sure if I'm allowed to say what the loco is. So I won't. Early railways are quite fascinating. They are indeed. And it will be good to see some 5 and 9 loco kits again, because we quite conveniently have, just up here, that is one of his old kits, no longer available. But isn't it beautiful? Built by Ian White. Absolutely fantastic. Be very interesting to see one day a large model railway layout that era faithfully simulates time interval signalling. Oh, that would be very interesting to see. Yes, I thought that 5 and 9 stuff was going out of production. Is it back? He does it in his spare time, so officially, yes, he is producing again, but everything is made to order. I do have an up-to-date price list of his stuff, and most of it is available, and I say it just spins up the centrifuge to do the white metal to order. Would that locomotive he's working on be one he was asking Ian McCormack for the drawings of. It could be. I can't remember what he was asking Ian McCormack for the drawings of, but it could well be, yes. And of course, Ian also has locos coming out as kits of this era under the EB Models brand. I believe he's releasing them under the EB Models brand. I don't think he's releasing them under Ian McCormack Models, but who knows. Always fancied having a stab at white metal kit building, never had the courage. Hello Bob, how are you this evening? I hope you are well. White metal isn't as scary as it first seems. As Linny can tell you, they learnt white metal soldering on their visit here last October and have recently done some very nice work on a white metal locomotive. I recommend giving it a go. Gary taught me how to do it. Now I've done full wagon kits and building my first loco kit. See, there we go. Linny recommends learning to white metal solder. Or solder white metal. I think both are correct in the terms I was using them. But the second one's better. Okay, thanks, you okay too? I hope maybe you need to start off with something simple like a wagon. I am very good, thank you, Bob. Yes, starting off with a wagon is always a good idea. The first bits of white metal I ever soldered were these two bits of scrap from some K's Brighton four-wheelers. The battery box is off of them and I just soldered them together as my practice. So far, I've not put the soldering iron through anything. Hopefully, that's a trend that's going to continue, because I am now going to turn the soldering iron on. Can recommend South Eastern fine cast wagons, easy to build. My first 3 wagons from them, no tiny bits, but good models once built. They were perfect for a beginner. But Bob models the Great Western, and I don't know if South Eastern fine cast have any Great Western wagons. I know they've got some Great Western locos, but I'm not sure about wagons. Hello UK Train Spotting, how are you doing this evening? I hope you are well. There is our special white metal solder. We don't actually want to be throwing that out. It's tall enough. Oh, not quite. That's a pain. I need a shorter one of these. Do a Great Western Shunter's truck. Oh, well, there we go then. Perfect. So, because I can't get away with using my soldering square as a square, I'm going to use my ruler as one. And we're just going to take a tiny bit of solder to tack in place. And there we go, just like that. You indeed cannot have too much flux. Now, there's only a tiny bit of solder there, so I'm going to check again. I'm not convinced that has stayed square. It has not, but it's only a tiny bit. It's small enough that I can straighten it out. There we go, it's nice and square now. So I can add some more solder to strengthen it up. Yeah, still square. There we go, success. I must say, I'm wondering why these are separate. Halfway round. To me, it would make more sense for them to be a one piece. But there we go. That's just me. I don't design kits. So we're going to put some flux on the other end. Indeed, off GWR flat working complete with a shunter figure too. Oh, excellent. Excellent indeed. So the most important things for white metal soldering: the temperature controlled iron and the right type of solder, which is low melt 70-degree solder. As long as you flux it and you are quick with your movements, then you won't melt the white metal. So I have a soldering station which has a thermostat in here so it can keep an eye on the temperature. Nice tip cleaner. I can set the temperature anywhere between 200 and 480. So if that turned all the way down to 200 and with 70-degree low melt solder and some Fry power flow flux, I have no problems with white metal soldering. Hello there, RWC Toyman. Welcome. How are you? I hope you are doing good. It is good to see you here. And so there we have the fourth side fitting in and being nice and square. Can one use Fry's Turkish Delight instead of Fry's Power Flow Flux? Honestly, James, I wouldn't waste the Turkish Delight. It goes down much better if you eat it. Flux, on the other hand, you should not eat. And there we go, another side successfully tacked in. And the bot wants us all to remember, hydration is important. You've got that side upside down, so I have. I did that on purpose, you see, so I can show you how easy it is to take white metal back off. See, and just like that, that never happened. Hello, I'm Price. Welcome. How are you this evening? Good to see so many new faces today. Yeah, that was all on purpose as part of my lesson in white metal soldering, so that you can see you don't need to be afraid of making mistakes. Little chocolate pudding fries has too low a melting point for soldering. Its proper use is as a filler prior to painting it on Volifery. Remember to smash that or gently tap that like button, everyone, and don't forget to subscribe too, says Linny. Thank you, Linny, for that message to alert everyone to the fact that we do have a very nice like button. It was built just so that you could smash it. It loves the smashing. It is in fact Nigel Thornbury. And whilst you are at it, the subscribe button is right next to it. So make sure you do hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to make sure you don't miss when I go live or upload a video. And if you're really adverse to subscribing, I do actually have a schedule. I have videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 PM UK time, and live stream every Sunday 9 PM till midnight UK time. That did not go on very straight. I think I slipped after tacking it. That looks better, much, much better. Smashing, indeed. Smashing. Well, also, if you subscribe and come and watch my live streams and videos, you get more of these terrible jokes. And, I mean, is that not reason enough? And there we are. One brake van completely finished. Nothing else to do on it. What do you mean you want to see it with springs and soul bars and brakes? And next you'll be saying you want me to put the blooming lanterns on the top. And what I love is the instructions for this, and I know where to find it in here because I have read them. That was a marathon. 5 hours later, the route was installed and working. Well, hey, well done, Train Sim. Well done, Train Sim. You'll like this, Alex. This is the Train Sim of the modelling world. So these brake vans are indeed supposed to have a lantern lookout on them. So here is a section about the lantern lookout from the instructions. The lantern should ideally be etched, but I rather doubt that the market justifies this at present. I'm afraid, therefore, that you are left to assemble the confection of microstrip. Thanks. That, of course, comes later. We've still got the bottom to do. So we need to fit some soul bars. We need to fit a floor. Once the floor's fitted, we can fit some W-irons and springs and axle boxes. And there's brakes in there as well. Wow, yeah, Alex, wow. And thank you for dropping all the links there. We have a link to my Discord server, which has a very active community of wonderful railway modellers, asking and answering lots of questions and showing off lots of pretty things. A link to the website, my Twitter, my merch store at Teespring, and of course the donation and Patreon links, which help provide the funding to keep this channel running. So far we haven't run out of stuff. So far. But yeah, I knew you'd like that for the lantern, Alex. It's the Train Sim of railway modelling, isn't it? So we first have to file an angle into the sole bars. And this is why I didn't attach the sole bars as I was building it. I knew this was coming. Always make sure you have read the instructions for what you are building before you build it. So this is why I'm very nervous about doing SECR birdcage stock. Making the lantern. I mean, once you 3D print, once I get some ratio four-wheelers, we're going to have a look on the channel at converting those into Southeastern Railway four-wheelers, which were bird-caged on the brakes. So we will do some scratch building bird cages when it comes to that. Not sure it is anything as painful as dealing with trains in the model railway world, but I get your point. I'm glad you get my point. If you lasered it in a thin card, reinforce at the corners on the inside of the lantern birdcage square profile rod with that. Yeah, what the good lady says. She knows her stuff. We're getting very close to fitting. Oh no, there's a 3D printed birdcage roof, acetate glazing, lasered thin card overlay on the glazing. Yeah! Best of both worlds, indeed. That sounds ideal. See, this is the sort of thing we do on my Discord, everyone. We throw ideas around and we come up with great solutions to many problems. So if you've ever had a modelling problem, the place you need to go is my Discord server. Exclamation mark Discord in the chat. I suppose when promoting the Discord server I should occasionally mention how to get the link, shouldn't I? There we go, we have one. That fits. So that means we now want to get some flux. Now normally I'd be taking a bit more care in polishing these parts up. But for those that missed the start of this, all these edges have been filed down, or even had bits sliced off with the knife in advance, so they are reasonably well shined up and cleaned, ready for soldering. If you ever need inspiration for a ridiculous project too, come to the Discord. Indeed. Well, we do occasionally do that as well. The most important thing is we have a good time. And we have some very, very knowledgeable people in there. And even some kit manufacturers. And so there we go, soldered all the way along the back. That best be in the right place now. 4 or 5 kit manufacturers off the top of my head. Yes, I believe you're right, 4 or 5 kit manufacturers. We've got a wonderful bunch there. So you can see it slowly coming together. Let's wipe some of that flux off. So we will be soon using the bolt holes on these to position where the wheels go. At which point we'll have a running wagon. We are currently 55 minutes in. And that 55 minutes includes some audio issues at the start. So yes, how is everyone doing this evening? Do we have any projects on the go ourselves whilst we are here watching me? Oh, and there is the bot promoting the channel's website. Thank you, bot. I'm going to promote the fact that hydration is important. Make sure you get enough hydration. I'm not working on modelling right now, but got the Ilfracombe goods on the go. Very nice. Wiring my Engage layout, but I've been making interesting developments with computer automation recently. Can't remember recall whether I mentioned this last week. You did mention it last week, and I am very interested to see it. Does your Engage have a thread on RM Web, James? I've seen your double O gauge on there, but I've not seen your Engage that I recall. Sure, it should be possible to 1. Be the signal when signal while trains drive themselves, and 2. Allow people to connect online. Yes, you mentioned the online connection because we made some jokes about it and how we could take control and crash things. Engage as a thread on Engage Forum, Merg and DNU. See, I don't go to any of them. Same principle to allow signaling remotely should be able to work with lever frames 2 for the double O gauge layout. Excellent. Oh yes, can't recall the timeline. Oh yes, I recall it now. Yes, it was all very interesting sounding. I love the idea of being able to play trains from anywhere. Now, I don't know how well this shows up on the camera, but as you work along with white metal, sealing joins as like this, like I am at the moment, you can see where the white metal solder is and where it isn't, because you get a slightly different reflection of the light with the solder than you do with the white metal itself. I'm also making plans to do interesting signalling for the planned underground layout too, although anything other than Engage might be a while enough. Ah, very nice, James. Underground be still, mate. Yeah, thought that might pique your interest when I read that. So yeah, you can see there that we got obviously the whole bottom up to about there, covered in white metal solder, giving off a different light reflection than the rest of the white metal, so we know where the solder is and isn't, despite it being extremely thin. So the next thing we want to do is reach over next to me. No, don't be upside down. Find a sheet of plasticard. Might actually want to do a thicker one. Yeah, let's do something slightly thicker than that for the floor. Big bit of steel just falling out there. I was going to use a sheet of 10 cal, but that's probably not the best for the floor, although it will be ideal for the roof. This seems to be about 30 cal. So let's move the soldering block out of the way. In fact, we'll turn the iron off for now. It doesn't take long to heat up the white metal. That way is long enough, so we'll cut that way. I have to use the plastic ruler for measuring, because my nice steel rule seems to be missing most of its measurements. I suppose it's probably time I got a new one. So we want to go 78mm long. And we will cut this to slightly oversize. This was a terrible place to start from, so I've got such a small area there. Never mind, so we're cutting slightly oversized, then we can make adjustments as we need to afterwards. Because you can remove extra material, bit harder to put it back on. Genuinely have no idea why I'm so obsessed with the underground and elevated railways, because they're different and quirky. 29 and 31 that end, so this end isn't quite in properly. Oh yeah, sticking out slightly there, whereas these sides are fine. Let's turn the iron back on and sort that, shall we? Because we do want our brake van to at least pretend to be square, especially if I'm going to use it in the video for the Brighton Circle. Which kit is this again? This is the Wooden Wagon Works 1859 Lantern Lookout Breakdown, made by Eric Gates some time ago, now made by 5 and 9 models. So whilst not actually a 5 and 9 models kit, technically a 5 and 9 models kit. There we go, that's what we were after. So as you can see, it's not that scary to make some adjustments to your white metal wagon kits, even after they've been built. And that's looking much better now. Much better. Yeah, my 29 and 29 will do. So we'll turn the iron off and move the block out the way again. And we'll mark it. And again, we will cut slightly big. Because it's easier to remove excess material than it is to add it back on. When working with plasticard, I almost always make my initial cuts slightly too big. And then I'll just work on one side to get it the right size. and then once that side fits, the other side. Shockingly. So that's now fitting that way. This side isn't quite flat, so we're going to give that side a file as well. And by the time this side is flat, we should be pretty much there. Oh, and there is the chatbot begging for money to help keep the stream running. For those that don't know my rules on that, any money donated to the stream is kept in its own account, separate, just for the stream. Right, there's a big blob of solder there, so we're just going to take this corner off. And that will deal with that. We're bowing down slightly, which means we are actually very slightly too long. Oh no, I did put it in the right way around, but there we go. Now we are not bowing in the slightest. Sat on top of the back of the buffer beams at both ends. So all we do here is drop in some super glue. Starting off with the corners. And Alex the Mole wants to remind everyone to smash that like button. I mean, it does mean a lot seeing all the likes at the end of the evening. I do have a look, and it always makes me smile. Hello A1, how are you doing this evening? I hope you are well. There we go, a few key spots down the side, just to make sure it is actually secured. Brush all that off there, and let's take it off the workbench altogether, because we are now building up quite a lot of rubbish and a pile of glue from where it has run down. So the next thing we're going to need is some of our W irons. You are well? I am well too, thank you, A1. Glad to hear you are too. These are built to be rocking W irons, as you can tell from the fact it includes the bar in the back. Yeah, that's not happening. With the slop in 00, I've never seen a need to compensate anything. I know people that do, and congratulations to them. It is very commendable. You are doing better modelling than I. But I'm happy with it as it is. I mean, there's supposed to be 2 of these in there, and you can tell it wasn't opened. But okay, I don't mind only having 1. It's not like I need loads. I actually have a few more W irons. Just kind of dotted around the workbench. But these are the ones I bought for this. So to release these from their etch, we'll go to a bit of the workbench that isn't glass. And put the knife through all the bits that hold it onto the etch. We are also going to be slightly modifying the W irons. I do not want these brakes on them. Didn't buy these because they were accurate, I bought them because they were cheap. And we'll turn that back round now. We'll just bend the brakes until they fall off. Just like that. We don't even really want these bits here for the compensation, so they can come off too. Well, I won't pick up those wheels then because they've got no axles in them. Now, I came across loads of the right size wheels the other day. Let me just check them. These are both identical. They've got the right number of spokes. And they're the right size. There we go. So, my small parts collection. We want some bearings. And the wheels will sit in there quite nicely. and these will be attached to the bottom, just like that. We don't want that one, it's missing its shoulder. We'll turn the iron on again now though, because these will want soldering in. So we'll turn the iron up, because of course we are now working with brass, not white metal. Well, we've got 3 out, we might as well get a 4th. For those that were watching a few weeks ago, this is the pack I threw all over the floor by accident. Found every last one of them. And we'll want the real solder for this. Now, normally you would do this before folding them, but I wanted to show you the wheels fitting in there first. Nothing like making my life difficult for the sake of a demo, eh? Glad you agree, Alex. That's better. So now, with bearings, the wheels sit nice and tight in there. Which is of course what we want, so I will just detach the next one from the edge. I don't think you need to see me do that again. And there is our etch. We've not even removed these bits from it yet, or the brakes. Come back, wheels. So at this point we just need to drop that over the bearings the other way up. Add a bit of flux. Doesn't matter how much, you can't have too much flux. Just wash it off afterwards. And then apply a bit of solder. And of course, because we've done that before folding, that means that we don't need the soldering block has held them in place. You'll be glad to know as well I was right first time when I put these down as to what way they wanted to go. But it's fine, it's done now. There we are. 2 W irons. The iron can definitely be turned off again now because there's no more brass soldering. So we want it to cool down before it is time for us to do any more soldering. And these attach there and there. And then once they are on, we have the springs and the axle boxes to attach. They'll be good fun. Honest, they will. Oh, and the brakes, which, you know, like, because of course they do. You couldn't have them attached sensibly. But before we do that, I'm just going to poke my blade into the ends here to open up these holes into as slots, because those are where our couplings go. Now I've got some spare hooks in here. Always a good idea to make sure your coupling hooks fit. These are technically the wrong type of couplings for this wagon. They are too modern for it. It should have the same couplings as Lion, actually. Where you've got 4 or 5 links and a hook on the end. Should this wagon not have 5 links? It should. And safety chains. Yes. Yes, it should. Is it getting those things? It is not. There we go, they fit. because I do want this to go behind my little Craven tank, and that will be free link stock, so it's not happening. I would, however, as we are halfway through, like to remind everyone, hydration is important. No limit. I will not go on. Easy enough to do 5 links. I think the Brighton pattern ones had 3 short links in the middle, long one at each end. Maybe they did, but no. What I might do though is get one of these on each side to make sure we are lining up our W irons properly. Big patch of glue there now. Because although we have the bolts on here to mark out the area for us, I just think it would be easier if we've got something a bit bigger to mark it out. Javier approves of 3 links, so do I. They look so much better, don't they? So we're going to try soldering now, right next to some plastic and some super glue. This does not come on my list of recommended things to do. Especially if you are not experienced with the soldering iron. It would be very easy at this point to melt the plastic and send super glue fumes up, neither of which are things you want. But there is that one on. We're just using tiny bits of solder here. Those are indeed very long springs. So I say this wagon is available. He's on my price list for 5 and 9 models now. I can't remember how much it is, but it's not much. None of the 5 and 9 stuff is. But yes, those are some exceptionally long springs. Just emerged from underneath my layout to see a breakdown, making good progress. And did someone mention 3 links? But that's links, LYNX, for anyone not reading chat. James and his cats again. I approve of felines, fuck kittens, you sizzle. Oh, but how do you know we weren't mentioning 3 links, as in, no, I can only think of Africa. I literally don't know any other fragrances made by links. I mean, I'm not 15 anymore, so I don't use links. Oh, it appears it's discontinued on the website. Oh. If you jump into Discord, Linny, I believe it's in the works chatter, and the pinned messages, I believe, has the latest 5 and 9 price list in it. The website might be out of date. Yeah, I believe it's in works chatter. Over 3 or 4 images of price list in there. I'm going to do the other side as well, because they'll fit, obviously, and give me plenty of guide on getting these in exactly the right place. And it does seem to be a good idea to get them in exactly the right place. So there is, of course, another use for the Discord there. So it does, thank you, not a problem. Not a problem at all, Linny. I, of course, was looking through that price list earlier for the wagon I tried to buy on eBay. Because if it was in there, I wouldn't have bothered with the eBay at all. Oh dear, do you want a bit more flux? Okay, then we can do a bit more flux. You can't have too much of it after all. I'll stick a bit more on this side for you as well. No, I didn't think that had stuck properly. And if at first your solder doesn't stick properly, just take a file to it. Make it nice and shiny, like the treasure on a sunken pirate wreck. I'm going to end that there, but if anyone wants to join in the chat, feel free. Right, Angry Rant posted, I'm back now. Well, welcome back, Alex. I hope you enjoyed your Angry Rant. There we go, nice and secure now. Brick, I love my brick. I'm still waiting to hear about Forbes, Abbott and Leonard acid tank wagon, glass-lined wooden bodied tank with no brakes at all, not even hand brakes, full of acid. What a wonderful idea. Oh, that's the best idea. 10 tons of acid with no brakes. Was that wagon designed by Albert Einstein himself? Because you clearly had to be some sort of genius to come up with 10 tons of acid and no brakes. See if the forum moderator allows it to be posted before I feel happy or not. Yeah. No, I was actually going to say, you know, I'd like a link to it, but it'll be gone before I get to see it. Knowing your Angry Rants. A lot of flash there. This one is not the saviour of the universe, so we will get rid of it. There you go, I made my modern reference, so I get to make an old reference. That's how it works. May I share a photograph? You may indeed. I do believe I have seen a photograph that you have shared previously of this wagon. Or a link to the HMRS page, or that, yes, you may indeed. And there we go, that is all 4 springs attached. And there is a link to the HMRS page from Linny. Are you sure you want to leave YouTube? Yes, go to hmrs.org. Ah yes, that's That's just the right amount of acid to be carrying with no brakes. Yes, definitely. I can see why they wanted to have no brakes on that. So if I'm right in my thinking, that goes like that, slightly over the spring. Just like that. Perfect, where it is exactly the right height. That's what we like to see. So I'm actually going to attach the axle boxes before putting the W irons in. Risky business. I want to make sure these have got good purchase with the solder. I was thinking I should build a block train. You should. Definitely. Huzzah for right height. Huzzah indeed. Of course, for those that don't know, Eric Gates, who designed and built this kit, designed and manufactured, I should say, this kit, is the modelling steward of the Brighton Circle, who are the historical society for the London Brighton South Coast Railway. So I would hope he knows how to make a good kit with things in the right place at the right height. I'd be kind of disappointed if he didn't. And there we go, look at that, the axle, the bearing slots right into the bearing hole on the axle box. Perfect. And there we are. We will very shortly be at a stage where everything we need to do is fabrication. So those now sit quite nicely in their designed space. Yeah, those are never going to fit in the intended way. That's going to be fun. Stunning, thank you, Javier. So for these, I'm sure you can probably guess how they work. They're brass to plastic. I can't exactly solder them, can I? Now, super glue, not the ideal method here. What you want is epoxy. Did these breakdowns have their lanterns removed in their later life? Honestly, Lily, I don't know. If you happen to have the wagon book to hand. Good evening, Richard. I am very well. How are you this evening? There we go. I'll watch it on capture. Yeah, you have indeed missed an entire kit build. Oh, that's not good. I was going to refill the hydration vessel, but instead I dropped the bottle of generic fizzy orange coloured liquid. Let's see if I can open this without it going everywhere. This could be fun. Be prepared for entertainment, or not if I'm competent. So the level of entertainment you should expect with this hissing depends entirely on how competent I am, or how competent you believe I am. And we're safely open. Well, it's been useful to... I hear hissing. Yeah, that's me opening this bottle, Javier. Looks like it would have been useful too, as I've a white metal kit that has a similar chassis. Better than smashing a £30 crystal glass, £20 crystal glass, Harry. No explosion. No, no explosion. MB cattle wagon kit. This one technically has no chassis as such. This has a plasticard floor with the WI and super glued to it. But yeah, it's been an interesting build. You can probably skip the first 5 minutes or so when you're watching it back. Build it with your club once lockdown's over if you want. Point still, yeah, your point does still stand, Harry. You're quite right. That was indeed very silly of me. I'm pretty sure that was like stream 2 or 3 or something. It was not long into the series. And it was right at the end if anyone wants to try and find it and watch it happen. So that hole is definitely too small. What I need to find is my drill bit that size. Are you the drill bit that size? You might be. No, it's you, isn't it, over at the back, hiding out there. This drill bit issue I have, where I can't put drill bits in the drill, will soon be sorted. Because I've actually ordered new pin vices. In fact, not only have I ordered new pin vices, I've ordered new drill bits as well. Partway through the kit, my kit is similar of white metal body and plastic R4 and brass chassis parts too. Oh, fair enough, Richard. I'll turn it off and yeah. See, it's good when people help each other out. No, that hadn't actually undone enough. This really is tight, isn't it? Yeah, that's out now, but I still don't think I can turn that by hand. Stuff like this is why this one is knackered. It'd help if I was turning it the right way, wouldn't it? And up you come. Don't knock it over. Do you know when I should have drilled these holes? Before I soldered it together. That hole has basically turned into nothingness on the other side now. And I don't believe I'm making any progress where this drill bit is kind of knackered. What would have been a good idea, you see, would have been to get through with the drill bit I had in it first. So when the replacement arrives and I can twist this by hand, won't that be good and look all more professional? As I say, all the parts for allowing us to drill through things properly are on their way. But like most of the new tools I've ordered, are not here yet. But you can be rest assured that coming soon to a live stream near you is competent drilling. There we go. Don't do that. You'll break things, most likely. I didn't that time, which is good. So, it is 11 o'clock. We are 2 hours in. How is everyone doing? And remember, hydration is important. Very well, just in the middle of a clear out just now. Fair enough. Blakey finish up one of a few classworks left. I didn't realise I had so much stuff. No, I had a clear out of the railway cupboard the other day, Richard. 200-litre bin bags worth of stuff went in the bin. Still got 2 weeks. So you're nearly out of work and you've still got 2 weeks of the semester left then, have you? If I understand correctly there. Which of course just means extra holiday. There we go, we're through on all 4. Now we hope these are actually the right size. Yeah. They just need a bit of a clean up on the buffers. Tests and whatnot, but not all the classes end at the same time. Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. More time for model railways. That's what I was thinking, Richard. Do believe one is ending this week anyhow. Ah. There we go. See, those buffers now fit quite nicely. And they just about poke all the way through. so we can chop off the bits left over from the drilling. Stick some flux on there. And drop a bit of solder on. And because we're putting the solder on the back of the buffer beam, it's not going to look so dirty. And there goes the head of that one. I knew that was going to happen when it started bending. But there's not really much I can do with that much flash to deal with, unfortunately. It does help if you've got a round peg to go into your round hole. Through your round pegs in round holes. Thank you, James. It is helpful when they are round. Don't catch the camera. Don't knock the knife off into your lap blade first. I'm glad you come here to learn these important safety tips. Much better than, say, hexagonal pegs going into triangular holes. Oh, I do definitely agree there, James. Going to just point out Apollo 13 here. What, you mean Apollo 13, where it would have been much easier if they had a round peg to fit into a round hole and they wouldn't have had to, like, fashion something up to make it fit. You know, but whilst Apollo 13 shows it can be done, if your solution requires all the brain power of NASA, it's probably not the most effective solution. Exactly, yeah. All that effort they could have saved by having a round peg and a round hole. And there we go, there's our buffer head reattached. Good enough for... Okay, pretty terrible, but it'll do. And we're on our wheels. There we go. Of course, what we now need to do... Which side isn't pushed in properly? That side by the looks of it. Oh yeah, that side's poking way out. That's better. What we now need to do is make these attach just here, like that. Hopefully you can see the problem with making that attach there. Yes, the problem is the fact that there is nothing to attach it to. And also that it's slightly too long, because of course we don't actually want it touching the wheels, because the brakes aren't supposed to be applied. But we've got one for each side. And it actually suggests in the instructions that these get attached to the W irons, but that clearly isn't going to work. So what I think we're going to do is use some more plasticard. You're not the bit I thought you were, you're the bit I was after. And if we're going to use a bit of plasticard, we want something strong, so we'll use a girder. Because girders are strong. That's my theory. Well, how am I supposed to measure roughly how big we want it if you fall out? Stay put. Where's that pen gone? There it is. Indeed, the bot says, remember kids, hydration is important. So now we just want to attach this to the end here. We're going to get the fish belly file and just take a little bit off the brake blocks each side first. This is one of the files in most desperate need of replacement. Which hopefully my new set of files will be with me very soon. Oh look, and now it's broken. That went well. So we'll put it on the glass. We'll grab it. It's not going to move now. There we go. And whilst white metal may be fragile, we just solder it back together, it's fine. See? You'd never know. Never, ever, ever. And now we're going to put a dab of super glue on there. And just put that on the end. We'll give it a second to dry, and once it has done, we shall check it back in position. And if that is correct, we'll cut another bit of the girder to the same size and do the same for the brake on the other side. I love this. Eric was he knew what he was making when he did this, shall we say. We'll have to wait for that to dry. This is the opening section of the instruction kit, the instructions for this kit. A collection of castings falling some way short of MRJ's definition of a kit. Designed for the modeller who not only knows the basics of building a vehicle, but is also very determined to build a very obscure one that will never justify the costs of proper tooling. There's some confidence in what you're making, isn't it? Showing instructions give a reason to turn to 3D printing. It is indeed. I hadn't quite got it straight. Blooming typical, that, isn't it? But I think we're somewhere around where we want to be, even if the blocks are still too long. It's a wonderful set of instructions, yeah. There's nothing like having confidence in what you're doing, is there? Yes, and that's nothing like having confidence in what one is doing. Exactly. I think we're going to go with a slightly longer piece of plastic, providing I can get these off. There we go. I think we only want to go about 1mm or so longer. Let's just make sure we've got a nice straight end to start with. See, now if I'd have started slightly longer, this piece wouldn't now be dropping down into the bin. I think if I do include this in my video for Eric, I should probably say I must be very determined to have some obscure stuff. Makes me wonder how many of these got sold since he starts off the intro to them like that, but they're still in the 5 and 9 range. So it must have lasted, must have done okay. Hydration, ladies and gentlemen, very important. As we approach the final half hour. Right, now we're slightly too long, that's annoying. And there really is nowhere I can position this to get a good grip on it. Knocking the solder off, but I think we're somewhere around where we want to be. I can make these a bit more round. No, they're still too wide. I mean, I know he says in the instructions that he's put too much material on these and you'll need to shorten the blocks a bit. But this is just silly. It's probably closer to the diameter we want them. What I was working with. Probably more effective as well. There we go, we've got somewhere. There we go, there's a mark. So I can cut that down. And now we just need to lose a couple of millimetres off of each break block. Well, okay, it's not actually a couple of millimetres, but you know. That's seeming about right. The only way to actually check, of course, is going to be to stick it on here. And that looks good to me. I'm good at holding these little tiny things, can you tell? Yeah. So let's get these stuck in. Don't drop them though. Need to put more points in dexterity. I do, don't I? If only life was an RPG. Oh, and there is a link to the Discord for everyone that wants to check out the greatest Discord in the world. Don't worry, it's not that because I'm there or anything. It's all the other people that make it the greatest. I would definitely recommend checking it out though. I mean, you can get the price and ordering details for this not a kit. And whilst it may seem fiddly, I would like to remind you that we've only been going at this for 3 hours. Well, 2.5 hours. So I think we're doing alright. We've even got breaks, look. See, the next thing this kit needs is, well, I can turn the iron off now. The kit needs no more soldering. There's no more white metal parts. Sorry, not a kit. It's not a kit, is it? It falls some way short of being a kit. The next thing it needs is a roof. No, it doesn't. The next thing it needs is glazing. Once it's glazed, it needs a roof. Bizarre for brakes? Yes, indeed, Alex. It will work as a brake van now. So yes, we want to fit some glazing. The window's all the way up on this side and it's halfway down on this side. So we want to fit appropriate glazing. We will do that by finding my sheet of acetate, and there it is. It's almost like I knew where it was. Cut a strip off the end that I can work with. Cut a chunk off that. Make sure it sits only over the window section that is lower, and it is quite happy there. Look, there's the brake falling off. Obviously this one wanted to be held a little longer. Don't glaze it yet, paint it first. Oh. Why do you have to come up with good points, Linny? Although I'm not going to spray this one. But that does mean I need to paint it now. Because I can't put the roof on until it's glazed. Tidy your drop light frame too. Well, yes, that too. What else are Linny's for? Oh, they make good kits as well, James. This, no, that's not going to work. That paint is clearly too watery. Something tells me I thinned this for the airbrush. Yeah, and that's it. Nice and mixed there as well. Let's see if we've got anything else of a suitable colour. Because I'm more awake than you at this time of the evening. Yeah, that's fair enough, Linny. It's very true. It doesn't look like I do. That's a pain. I can't paint it. I can't even prime it because my lavender grey stock gets painted in primer. Because Humbrol primer, it is Humbrol primer. Humbrol's little enamel primer is a good match for lavender grey. I don't think my other stock in that colour is out. Let me have a look. No, oh, that is. Matches the lavender grey quite well. Obviously I need to get some transfers on this one. Triang wagon. Converted into a Stroudley 8 ton. I think it's a Stroudley, it might actually be a late Craven 8 ton van. But that is just Humbrol enamel primer. hydration is important. Well, we've got 20 minutes left. I'm curious, why does that van have a vacuum cylinder but no brakes? Looks like a Craven to me. It has a vacuum cylinder but no brakes because I couldn't be bothered to remove the vacuum cylinder at the time. But I think you're right about it being a Craven. It's made from it's a triangle van with one of the ones with the horizontal, yeah, big words. So they did ones with the planking going down as well, didn't they? This is one of the ones with planking going across. It's literally had one plank removed out the middle. It's a very early bash of mine, this, and it lives at the end of a siding on Oak Hill. It's the goods yards manager's office. Because they've all been withdrawn by the time Oak Hill is set. So the story is, when it was there before being withdrawn, he had it shunted to the end of the siding and blocked in where they couldn't get it back out. So it just got written off there and then. Right, so 20 minutes to go. What do we do for those 20 minutes, folks? Well, closer to 15 minutes now. We are killing some time here. I don't have any. Oh, I know. Look, where did I put that? I've got a wagon that we started painting. Well, we're going to break the paints out anyway and we're going to get this painted. That's what we're going to do. The remaining time you can make more brownies, Gary's baking channel. No. We shall pop the wheels out of this and paint the chassis. And no, I'm not going to prime it first. I'm not even going to match the level of black on the body. But considering Eric billed that as less of not being a kit and being only for the very dedicated, the fact that the only reason we have had to stop on it before the end of 3 hours is because we didn't have the right paint, I think says something about the actual quality of it. It certainly can't be as bad as the instructions claim. Why am I painting the back, you ask? Well, the reason for painting the back is because, of course, quite a lot of layouts, including mine, are up high, and you can see under things like wagons. So if you paint the back of all the details on the chassis, then they don't look like bare plastic when you do look under it. Somewhere far away, Luke just felt a disturbance in the force. He did. He did indeed. Oh, that wagon looks familiar. Eric's comments on his kids haven't built the lantern yet. That's true, I haven't. Conveniently, where he photocopied the instructions, the lantern's kind of missing. I'll have to have a look and see if they did lose their lanterns in later life. It'll be in the wagon book, I'm sure. That's got to be where he got the drawings from originally. And if it did lose the lantern, I probably won't build it. But yes, I'm glad the wagon looks familiar, Lily. Proves you're not completely insane. I mean, obviously you're partially insane. Southwestern. Don't know where you'd want to get that idea from. Oh, and there is the bot once again to remind you all to smash the like button. Or if you disapprove of my comments about the Southwestern there, smash the dislike button. Smash them both at once and see which one gets your... I don't know what the word is. I was going to say vote, but of course it's not a vote, is it? Gets your rating. There we go. Smash all the buttons. The like button, the dislike button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. They all want your attention. Oh, ain't nothing wrong with Drummond livery. All this salmon and chocolate carriages. If you say so. I gently pressed the like button right at the beginning when I saw the brownies. Excellent, thank you, James. I thought you might. Laughing at the three people disliking briefly. Self-destruct button. Oh, I do like that livery. Lovely carrot and the bluebell in that livery. It is actually quite nice. Linny knows I am joking. Yeah, I've got my hydration. Hello, Sparkshot. I approve of said hydration. Very much so. Learned to accept his jibes about the LSWR ages ago because I'm taking a nice curiosity over the Brighton. Car. I don't think you've ever actually popped up in my chat live before. Knuckles, it is good to have you here. How are you? I hope you are well. I was looking at your pictures of Gordon on Twitter earlier. That was an interesting looking break. That's pretty good, just DOSing. Fair enough. Well, it is good to have you DOSing here with us. Yeah, the Ed was exploit copy. Yeah, that was the one, yeah. That was very interesting looking. Yeah, I'm glad you choose to DOS here with us, even if we have only got 10 minutes left. It's good to see you here, being able to catch some of it live. Yeah, the spark shot. The plonker with a scalpel, what could go wrong? Exactly. I also found myself looking through your Shapeways page earlier and considering dropping you an email to order stuff, but I couldn't decide on what I wanted. Car looks good, thank you, Toy Man. Better than not in it, yeah. As much to be said for spot 3D printed joy, there is indeed. There very much is indeed. So there is another wagon finished. It's just, well, I mean, all of your things for me, other than possibly the Caledonian 812, would be vanity projects, really. So there's a possibility I'll get an 812 off you at some point. That'd be good. Oh, I can't do that one on the channel because that'd be for the boy. I'll definitely get something at some point though that I can do on the channel. I've just got to decide what it is that I want. Prove of finished wagons, I agree with Javier. I look forward to photos of Rapey White and Big New wagons. He's an 812, everyone needs an 812. I've been chatting with Callie Jim over on RM Web today actually, Alex. And I think a jumbo needs to come before an 812. Just because of the price of the RTR one. But the boy has requested a kit for a Caledonian 060. So I've got to get him something. He did specify Caledonian as well. Right, we have 4 minutes left. As long as you're okay with resin. I am indeed. I've got a few resin prints that I have done in the past, and I am very happy. In fact, printed off a photon as well, so I'm familiar with what comes out your machine. And I do look forward to getting on with something from it. possibly a Furness 440. I quite like them. Jumbo's acceptable. Good. Glad to hear it, Alex. I would get the white and beanie rake out to put them together now, Linny, but I don't believe they're actually out. I think they're all packed away. I'm just looking at those holes on the end. I'm not sure they're big enough for the couplings. Interesting, 300 class been working with Jim for his upcoming kit of it. Oh, really? Interesting. Interesting indeed. So we've got 2 photons now. Excellent. Very nice. So it's not going to be long till I have to look at stocking up the kit supply for the channel. So it'll probably be sooner rather than later that I get in touch. I have to put photos on our own web then. I will, won't I? Or in the Discord. Exclamation mark Discord in the chat for a link. Or both. There's always both. But Discord definitely gets more photos. 2 working photons. Someone's got to have the working photons, Linny. There we go, it fits now. Convinced that there's only a set number of working photons in the warehouse. As soon as anyone gets theirs working, someone else's will fail. I believe you're right. I do believe you're right, looking at the trials of you and Tom. Made the jump to DCC, Z21, circutations. It's been a stressful week though, lots of gremlins. Oh yeah, you will get lots of gremlins setting up. The Z21 is a good system though. Very nice. Glad you found something that you like and could go with. Right, there we go. It's even got a coupling hook in each side. And we have hit midnight. So that is where we come to an end. We have a brake van and a wagon. Look, I never got any paint on the bearing, so I can put the wheels back in this. And then they'll look better. There we go. A brake van. And a wagon finished. It's only putting part of the bed now, which is weird. Part of the bed house keeps moving too. That's really weird. Thought the DC set was the engagement as well. Just that Normandy still DC. So yes, we have reached the end of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. After some initial hiccups, I like to think we did very well here this evening. And thank you for helping me with those bits at the start. Please do remember to smash that like button if you haven't done so already. It really does help the channel. and subscribe and ring the notification bell whilst you're at it. I'd like to thank you all for coming. We've got a video coming out on Tuesday with a layout update and some running, so make sure you don't miss that. There will be the review of this stream on Thursday, and then I look forward to seeing you all back here next Sunday, 9 PM UK time. It has been, I love sitting here chatting with you. So yes, this has been Let's Build. I have been Gary. You have been awesome. Thanks. Bye for now.